The Yellow Brick Road. This video does not reflect the actual views of real people. These are actors playing a role to entertain audiences. No persons or animals were harmed in the making of this video. Gosh, I love YouTube and I love Google.
Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today I have the funniest debate of all time. Well, at least, debates that are trying to be about serious topics, but this is, it's like a movie that's so bad that it's awesome, because you get to sort of make fun of it, and you, it could be like a serious drama, you just end up laughing your ass off of how dumb it is. No offense. But this is a debate between Jesse Lee Peterson and David Pakman. And some of the questions and responses from Jesse Lee Peterson it's gold. It's a reactor's dream, which is why I'm going to be sort of overviewing this thing. It's 52 minutes long. I don't know if I'm going to do the whole thing or not, but if it keeps entertaining me, I'll keep watching. How about that? All right, so here we go. Jesse Lee Peterson versus David Pakman.
And I know you are a progressive, right? Not a liberal.
I don't really know the difference at this
Yeah, I was
point.
going to ask, is there a difference?
You know, a lot of this stuff is just semantics. I think it's better, I could tell you what my views are on any particular issue, but whether I'm, progressive or liberal or I don't know. I don't know what we gain from talking
Would
about
you
this.
consider yourself progressive?
I want to see progress. So in that sense, by the dictionary definition, I guess so. The problem is that you might have some ideas about what is implied by the political term progressive that maybe I agree with, maybe I don't, but I definitely want to see, humanity progress, for sure.
And one of the reasons I'm concerned about you being a progressive is that...
Real quick, I think most progressives will like the way he said that because they probably don't consider him a progressive. They at least, like the Jimmy Dore video I did, they seem to lean towards Jimmy Dore being an actual progressive and David Pakman being more of just a Democrat, basically. In some cases, they say corporate Democrat.
Me specifically or all progressives?
All men.
Men, only men.
Only men.
Progressive women don't concern me.
It's abnormal for women to be progressive.
Interesting.
Or liberal, but it's abnormal for a man to be a liberal or progressive. It's a sign of being a beta male.
I didn't know that.
Because real men are conservative, Republican, and strong in nature.
No comment.
So I'm concerned if you're a liberal or a progressive.
If I became conservative, would I no longer be beta?
You become alpha.
Wow. Something to think about.
Yeah. How did you become
See, don't these guys complain about, like the Jesse Lee Peterson, isn't it his side that complains about identity politics? And now you're just talking about, you're not really a man if you're a progressive. This is basically where the argument's gonna move towards, which is stereotypes and dumb shit. And to be honest with you, these are, in my opinion, you could say Ben Shapiro, maybe Gavin McInnes, guys like that. This is their argument. It's just he's so unsophisticated in the way he explains it that it comes off as pure comedy, which it should be. Like, don't be intimidated by like a Ben Shapiro because he's like blah, 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 blah. Like, speaking fast doesn't mean you're saying something intelligent. That's just how I hear Shapiro. But back to this.
liberal / progressive? Were you always that way, or did something happen along the way?
No, interestingly, I'm glad you asked that actually. In high school, I took a lot of sort of standard, what we would call like classical economics.
Yeah.
And classical economics is pretty conservative in a lot of ways. You know, it assumes rational actors participating in the economy. It assumes a lot of stuff that's sort of, right now, more conservative in terms of economics. So I had a lot of those ideas, and I thought that they made sense. And then I learned more about behavioral economics and the work of people like Daniel Kahneman and others who say, you know, economics as we usually teach it is not right. And so that made me question the beliefs that I had sort of assembled over time. And then I was questioning all of my beliefs. So I definitely have had it sort of a shift to the left. I was never a right-winger. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I've definitely moved to the left the more I've become educated about issues.
This is why it's not good to allow children to go to public schools.
It's almost like, why, for some reason to me, it seems like a plant almost. Like, like the guys you hear argue about race and intelligence. This guy seems like he's planted there to be like, see? Conspiracy theory, throwing it out there.
Tell me more.
Because they're brainwashing them, and
Well, I didn't go to public school.
they're turning them away from their values.
I didn't go to public school.
Well, private school too, if you don't watch out for it.
I'm kidding. I did go to public school.
Yeah. Do your parents know that the school education system had this
That was pretty sneaky by Pakman right there. That's hilarious.
impact on you, turned you into a liberal?
Do they know that it had this impact on me?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, they know my political views.
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
They do.
And are they happy with them? Do they
They're
agree
very happy.
with you?
They're very happy.
They
No,
agree?
my mom is the happiest Jewish mom you could imagine.
So you've not been married, you're not married or never been married, no kids and all that?
I've never been married, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm not currently married, of course, and I don't have children at this time.
Do you date?
I do.
And do you find that it's difficult for young men in your age group, to find good women to date?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
The women that you date and have dated, are they controlling?
Now, I do date women exclusively, but how did you know that I date women? It's possible I date men or both, right?
Well, that is possible, but I wouldn't assume that about you.
You didn't assume that then? Okay.
Yeah, unless you tell me.
No.
Do you date men too?
Exclusively women.
Oh.
So, I guess throughout this, you're going to hear the theme of basically heavy religious backing and using that to shape your political views and using your political views to shape the world. And it all leads back to the religious part, right? That's where I think you could throw Ben Shapiro on that one too. You have this religious view. You start developing political ideas that would agree with this religious view, and you start passing them out into the world when they're thinking, oh, these are political ideas he's throwing out there, when really it's the core belief of this religious thing. That's what it seems like.
Would it be a bad thing for our conversation if I dated men?
Well, it wouldn't be bad for our conversation. It would be interesting.
Okay.
Why don't you date men?
I'm not attracted to men.
Oh, good.
I don't see anything wrong with it, but I know you do.
You do not see anything wrong with it?
With being attracted to men?
Why not?
Why would it be wrong?
Because it's of the same sex, so it's abnormal.
Even Pakman knows he looks gay. Well, he didn't imply he was gay. He was just asking a question. Or actually, Pakman brought it up. Yeah, there you go.
But that's not an argument.
It's a fact.
What makes something...
That one's for you, Matt Hunter. That is not an argument. Because, it's weird. That's why.
normal?
Let me ask you this. I wanted to ask you this too. I wanted to ask this on my radio show.
Please.
If a woman decides that, oh, you know, I feel like a man, and I want to be a man, and she goes to a doctor, rushes down the road to a doctor's office.
Yep.
He takes off her female body parts and attach male body parts to them,
Wow.
to her. Would that make her a male?
It would make her Bob or Irene. It would make him or her, whatever the fuck their name is. That's who an individual is.
Would it make her male, or would it make her a man?
Either one.
Depends how you define either, right?
Right. Would it make her a man or a male? Would she still be a woman with body part of a man?
I mean, it'd be a transgender man.
But would it be a woman? It would make her a man?
It would be a transgender man, I think.
What does that mean?
See, there's like levels to this shit. Jesse Lee Peterson is probably like right near the bottom level, and like right there above him would be the David Pakmans of the world, who are actually arguing this point with this person. It's like, what does it matter? Call them by their name. How about that? If they want to be called a man, you say, okay, I guess you're a man, but I'd rather call you by your name as an individual. Who are you as a person, right? Otherwise, you're trying to go with, instead of who a person is, it's about what a person has, which sounds dumb. Or they're just purely recognizing with their biology, which doesn't say much because you didn't create your own biology.
It means it's someone who was born biologically female, wouldn't it?
Right.
This isn't my area of expertise.
Right.
I'm interested
But
in the
just
conversation.
normal people, you know right from wrong when you see it, right?
Do I know right from wrong? I don't know. Do I?
You don't know if you know right from wrong?
I think people want to know what's right and what's wrong, but if everybody knew right from wrong, no bad things would ever happen, right?
But how about you?
See, this is a good answer from David Pakman for him. If it was me, I'd have a different answer. But if you truly don't know what's right or wrong, you should state that, right? If you do know some things, you should say you know. But I think there's a lot of people, too many people, that claim to know certain things. Not the big things like, do you steal or do you murder? Not those big, obvious answered questions. But like the smaller gray area ones. It's like, I don't know. But what Jesse has is a book that tells him what's right and what's wrong, where there's no thinking required, just copy and paste answers without the experience behind it. It's, put it in religious terms, it's eating the bread, but without the wine, right? It's words without intoxication.
Do you know right from wrong?
I feel like I do.
And so if you knew a female who took off her female body parts and attached a male body part to them, would you think, wow, that's a man, or would you still know that's a woman?
Once again, that's Bob, or it's Irene, or Shirley, or Tom. It's an individual, right? You don't need the group think about this one.
Depends on the person, right? It depends what they look like and sort of how they exist.
So how
in the
about the
world.
woman that you knew? You knew her very well. She said, David, you and I are good friends. Today I'm going to become a man.
Okay.
I'm going down to the doctor's office there and have some male body parts attached.
Right.
Would you think that your friend is a woman or a man?
I mean, my reaction would be radical empathy. I would say, oh, wow, that's a major change. Like, what's going on that's making you want to do that? And I would listen to them with empathy.
Funny hearing empathy come out of David Pakman's mouth with all the, I'd rather play political strategy games than look at things for the way they are and making judgments off that, making moral judgments on these things as they are, rather than making political compromises here to achieve some goal way down the line. Oh, you should use that. You should use that empathy there. It works there.
But would you know it's still a woman, or would you think it's a man? Would
Hard
you
to
personally
say.
think it's a man?
Hard to say. I mean, every person's different, right?
I'm talking about you.
No, I mean
Would you think-
every other person. I don't know what they would be like. What it would be like to be with them.
But what would you think?
I don't
Would
know.
you still,
who's
like,
the
I would
person.
still know that that's a woman.
Right.
I don't care how many male body parts she's attached.
Right.
It's still a woman.
Okay.
But would you consider it might be a man? Would you think of it as a man?
It? Would I think of it as a man?
Right.
It's a person, right? I don't say
Right,
it.
it's a female. But would you think of the female as a man?
we'd have to meet and see what it's like.
You already know her. You grew up with her. She's a good friend.
Right, but this is imaginary.
Would you think it's a man or woman?
I have no idea.
Amazing. You don't believe in God. Where do you get your values from?
Where?
Good question. I like that question. The problem is, I don't even think Peterson understands. Jesse Peterson, that is. Jordan Peterson might have a better understanding.
Where do I get my values?
Yeah.
Culture, family, science.
Anywhere but from you, right, David? And same thing with Peterson. You guys get your your values and your morals from somewhere else. It's like it's like you go shopping for morals rather than becoming the moral thing to where you know it inside and out and you can express it in your own way. But that's too boring and artsy fartsy.
Interesting. I wanted to ask you about, let me first ask, do you have anything to ask me? Any questions that anything you disagree with me about?
Well,
we had our little
of course
thing
we
about
disagree,
this.
but
Like, what do you disagree with me about?
what do we agree about? I don't know that we agree on anything.
Like what, for example?
Economics, social issues, gay marriage. I don't know. Do we agree about anything?
Well, it sounds like we don't.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about Judge Kavanaugh.
Okay.
When the children of the lie tried to take his life,
I'm not familiar with them.
the children of the lie, the liberal media, the Democratic Party,
Oh.
the right-o Republicans, the never-Trumpers.
Okay.
Once again, it sounds like religious rhetoric, and he's speaking about it through politics, basically, and not even politics, through mainstream political issues. But they're not even; those aren't even political. Mainstream, faux political soap opera bullshit. Right, children of the lie. What the fuck does that mean? Nah, he seems like the type if you ran for office, no matter who you are, and just said, okay, I'm going to run as a Democrat, you're automatically a bad person. And he's just bad at masking that he probably feels that way. And I'm sure there's a lot of fucking people that feel that way. A lot. As far as like, the mainstream intellectuals. Once again, this guy, he reminds me of Ben Shapiro. Just, Shapiro's a lot more sophisticated, so he's better at masking the little underpinnings of what he's saying, or what he means, or why he means these things, in my opinion.
So like everybody but
The
Trumpers.
hashtag movement, those evil women hashtag movement,
Hashtag.
people, civil rights leaders, all those folks.
Right? Evil. Right?
They are children of the lie.
It's a lot of people.
It is.
Throw Steven Crowder in there. Right? Evil. They use words. They just seem like heavily religious people. Crowder uses comedy to hide it. Ben Shapiro uses a higher intellectual understanding of politics with it. And this guy has no mask. It's pretty blatant.
They have a big family. But when they tried to destroy him, that woman, whatever her name is, it won't come to me.
Doesn't matter to you anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah. When she lied on him, and you saw that the children of the lie tried to destroy this man, his wife, and his children,
Okay.
by accusing him of being a rapist and all that, calling him a rapist. Were you disappointed to see the children of the lie acting that way?
so this is one of those questions where the framing of the question we have to talk about. Because you're assuming that I already believe she lied. But I don't know that she lied. I don't have any evidence that she lied.
Did you pay attention to the hearing?
I watched every minute.
Did you hear anything that indicated she was telling the truth?
Yes, there was no, so here's a couple things. I'll tell you what.
Just to say it, I think the lady was I've watched videos on the cases and shit, and it does seem like bullshit. But I don't fucking know. I didn't really pay attention to it that much. It just seemed like a political soap opera to don't know, to get votes, to separate voters more, and to get them to bark and scream about each other about bullshit, basically. No actual issues.
To me, suggested she was telling the truth. Number one, it was all downside for her coming forward. There was no upside. She's not going to get any money now because she made the allegation. She's not going to live a better life. She had to move. So first of all...
That's a poor argument. That's trying to use logic to clean up the scenario when we're people, you know? We're not purely logical machines. We're not robots. So that argument will not work with me.
Sort of like motive. There was no upside to her. There was the chance that maybe it would prevent Kavanaugh from being confirmed. But most people, including me all along, were saying this isn't going to stop his confirmation. So that was one thing that made me not doubt her, that there was really nothing to gain. The second thing is, during the hearing, which was like, what, 10 hours long? It was very, very long, like 5 hours each of them. There were like dozens of questions that Brett Kavanaugh didn't answer. And she answered every question. And when I see that, and I see one person answering every single question, and the other person not answering so many questions.
That doesn't say anything either, right? Answering a question and saying the truth are two different things, right?
Based on my experience talking to people who sometimes lie and sometimes tell the truth, I believe that it's more likely the person not answering the questions is the person lying.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So she was asked when, where, and how. I don't know where it happened. I don't know when it happened. I don't
No,
know
she did
who
say
was
where it
there.
happened. It had
I
been
don't
at
know
someone's
this.
house.
I don't know that. Only thing I remember is a beer, and then she developed this little girl voice, and she's supposed to be a professor, and she developed this little. What's the
Let's
woman's
take
name?
I do respect, because me and James, we watch a shitload of fights. So when we see like a fighter, we don't make our predictions of who's going to win the fight, you know, UFC or boxing or whatever. We don't make our predictions till we see the ring walk, so we can look at the person's like temperament, see if like, oh, okay, he looks nervous, or they look, you know, focused. So I'll take that natural body language thing into account. Doesn't make it true, just means it's worth paying attention to.
Christine Blayton Ford, right?
So let me see if I
She
understand.
developed this false little girl tone.
Her voice made you not trust her.
No, her line made me. She had
Pure analytics, Mr. David Pakman, pure analytics.
no proof.
But then
of
why are you
anything.
mentioning her
She
voice?
doesn't remember when, where, or how. The only thing she remembers is a beer.
That's not
And
true.
so you
She
would
remembered
have
a
to,
lot of stuff.
You would have to want to believe her, not to see that she was lying. And plus, she
No.
seemed mentally off. You know, like the lights was on, but nobody was home.
You're making assessments of who's mentally off on,
no,
on TV.
She seemed mentally off.
Why not? Why not, David Pakman? Why not do that?
And that's your assessment.
Yeah, because she's like, you know, she's like kind of weird.
She was weird.
Yeah, it's like they went to the gates of hell over in Israel.
Kavanaugh seemed normal to you.
Over in Israel, there is a little old city now where the gates of hell is there. And it's a dark pit that if you go down in there, you can't return, they say. And so whenever I see women like that and men like that, it reminds me
Men and women like what?
like Ford, just wicked lying. This woman was willing to destroy this man because she didn't agree with his politics. She was being used, I believe, because she kind of out there. I think that.
I'm pretty sure she...
Once again, was it poorly masking religious ideas within political ideas? Just poorly doing it. Wicked.
She was a Republican. I don't know what politics you
No,
disagree with.
no.
Can I ask you a question? This
She's
is,
not a
I want
Republican.
to understand.
But
What could she have done during the hearing where you would have said, you know what, I do believe her? Like, what could she have? I know you don't believe her, right? Like, the way it went down, you don't believe her.
Right.
What could she have done during the hearings where you would have said, I believe her?
She could have put on a MAGA hat or promoted the Jesse Lee Peterson show. And he would have agreed with her immediately.
If she had she gone there and said, you know what, the children of the lie are trying to use me to destroy Judge Kavanaugh.
But that would be a lie.
And I see no reason this man should be destroyed. And so I just want you to know not to trust the children of the lie.
So only if she recanted, you would have believed her.
I would have believed that.
Wow.
Or had she brought real evidence, but she brought none,
Wow.
zero. But that's how evil the children of the left are. They'll destroy you to get what they want, and that's power and wealth.
Religious undertones. Yeah.
I'm curious, if they're so powerful, the children of the
But they're
lie.
not powerful.
Oh, I thought you
I
just said
said
they
that's
were.
what they want.
I thought you said they will destroy you.
They will. They'll destroy you. They'll try to destroy you
okay.
to get power and
Gotcha.
wealth.
Gotcha,
Do you
gotcha.
agree with that?
No. No.
Really? Do you trust the? Would you want someone to falsely to accuse you, and now you and the world has to believe the accuser and not believe you, or would you rather be?
It's funny you mention that.
assumed Innocent
Yeah.
until proven guilty.
So there's two different things, right? In our justice system, in our legal system, we have innocence until guilt has been proven. There's no question about that. What happened with Dr. Christine Blasey Ford was not part of the justice system, right? This was people like you and me and 100 senators and the public making an assessment of the believability of two different people, right? So nobody, I would say to you, innocence until guilt has been proven is logical if you're looking at putting someone in prison. But this wasn't a criminal trial. You acknowledge that, right?
That's so ridiculous. I don't know.
The point should be to find the truth. So I don't like where Pakman's going with that. Right? You just hear the testimony of both people. And also, wouldn't it be criminal if it's like a rape case? It seems like it would be criminal.
It's just true.
It's interesting how when the children of the lie.
No, but
try
saying
to
it's ridiculous
destroy
isn't an
you,
argument.
It's ridiculous.
It's not an argument.
This man was accused.
That's for you, Matt Hunter. It's not an argument.
I don't care if it was an innocent man walking down the road. You don't just accuse people, and whatever reason you're going to make up for it doesn't make sense. This woman, she accused this man with no proof, and the children of the lie tried to destroy him
Oh, come on,
with
Justice.
no proof.
Okay.
Would you want to be falsely accused? Before any reason at all, whether it's for a job.
Of course not.
Or, right. You want, and then if someone should accuse you, when you want the hearer to assume you're innocent.
I would want the legal system to assume that.
So you wouldn't mind if it's someone not the legal system.
People have tried to prove a point. This is, I'm sure you're going to denounce this because of your strong position against false allegations. Because of my position that Christine Blasey Ford seemed credible to me, people actually started contacting local media claiming I raped them because they said, David, we're going to show you how easy it is to get people in trouble with false rape allegations.
Especially for men.
And they started doing it. And you know what? The allegations were so obviously not credible that they didn't go anywhere. Because obviously false allegations don't go anywhere. It failed.
That has to be BS. I don't have any whatever stats behind it, but that sounds bullshit. I think someone could easily lie and get someone in trouble. I'm sure that's been done numerous times in like all over the world.
Because right now you're not of value to them. You can't hurt them. So it meant nothing. But
It meant nothing
put
to who?
yourself in a position such as Judge Kavanaugh, or let's say that you get some influence where you can influence people in a way that will change for you.
No.
You know, I asked you, did you date girls? And you said, well, why would you assume I date girls?
It's interesting that you assumed that, yeah.
Should I assume you date boys?
No.
Because it's normal to assume you date girls until otherwise.
Statistically speaking, you're right. Yeah,
so-
most people are heterosexual. Yeah.
So was I wrong for assuming you date girls?
I'm not at all offended, no.
Oh, okay.
I just found it interesting.
But
It's not wrong because he's conditioned. While at the same time, I think the right way to go would just be someone you don't know, you just take them as an individual. Don't follow statistics or your super ego or any of that. Just super ego meaning that like voice in your head that represents the outside world. You can look at it in a way like fashion. You look in a mirror like, does this look good? When you're really asking yourself, does this look good to other people? even though there's not other people there, you're still making a judgment based on your experience with other people. Like, oh, they would like this or they wouldn't like this. So, yeah.
It's interesting that a straight man would make that.
No,
would bring that up.
the reason was you've called me a girly man so many times. Remember
that's
we talked
because
about
you're
that?
weak.
Oh, okay.
That's because it's not because I think you.
That I'm gay.
Right.
Got it. Glad we clarified.
What do you think of this so-called hashtag Me Too movement?
In what sense?
Do you
What do I
support
think?
it?
Well, I support destigmatizing, coming out and saying if something has happened to you. That's what I support.
Really?
Yeah.
But you don't support the entire movement?
I don't know what the bounds of the movement are. I mean, to the extent that the idea of the movement is, you know, a lot of people are sexually assaulted and raped, and they don't come forward.
No, I'm not saying heterosexuality is due. Well, nah, I'm not saying it's due to conditioning. I'm saying that to assume someone else's sexuality is based on conditioning. All right, if I assume you're gay or if I assume you're straight, that would be based on my conditioning and biases and whatever. But, no, me personally, I don't think sexuality is conditioned. Exactly.
And the reason
I
they
don't
don't
believe
come
that.
out. You don't believe that?
That's a made-up lie too.
Oh, who made that up?
The children of the lie.
Oh, I should have.
The children of the lie.
I should have. And the extent that the idea of the movement is, you know, a lot of people are sexually assaulted and raped, and they don't come forward. And the
I
reason they
don't
don't
believe
come.
that.
You don't believe that?
That's a made-up lie too.
Oh, who made that up?
The children of the lie.
Oh, I should have.
The children of the lie.
I should've.
Yeah, they made that up because if you notice, they say things over and over and over and over and over again. And if you're not paying attention, you find yourself believing in it.
Wow.
But when you really do research, you find out that's not true. Like they were claiming at one time that there were rape on college campuses was out of control, right? We now found out that that was a lie. And so
How
these
did you
women-
find out it was a lie?
Research has proven that. I don't have any with me, but
There's
it's
no
proven.
rape on campuses.
It's not out of control in the manner that they're pretending that.
How do you do?
And I think any rape puts the scenario out of control. But I guess I understand what you're saying.
Define out of control?
It's not happening in the numbers that they say.
What numbers
but
did
the
they
children
say?
of the lie, I don't have numbers, but the children of the lie say that because they want to deceive
I don't have numbers.
you. And then they bring in all this emotion. Oh, I was 30 years ago, I was walking down the road and a man raped me.
So you don't have
And
the
then-
numbers or the
and-
studies,
and
but
they
you just
bring
know
in-
it's not
yeah,
that bad.
Because another thing too, if you notice it, it doesn't make sense that they go public with that anyway. It's not going to make their lives better.
This is a different
The
argument.
only thing it's going to do is hurt men, so these women are lying.
Is
That's just the worst argument ever. Well, who cares if you get raped? It's not going to help you out if you come out and tell people. You know, they should just hold it in.
Isn't that an argument that would suggest that they're telling, like you just said, it's not going to make their lives better to go public? Isn't that why we should say, wait a second, Christine Blasey Ford, a college campus rape victim, it's not going to make their lives better, so they probably are telling the truth, right?
No,
No, it's just poor logic, and you're speaking with Pakman speaking with a guy who's not so sophisticated in arguments and things like that. That's why you can turn that around on him so easily. But it's either one is a poor argument.
they're doing it because they hate men.
Oh.
And they especially hate straight, white, conservative Christian men of power because it's the straight, white, conservative Christian man who's holding the country together.
Oh.
Like I said at the beginning, when he seems very plant-like, you know, that might be what I mean.
If it wasn't for them, America would be a socialist society already.
It would be what?
A socialist society.
How would it become
Because
socialist?
if you notice, the average black man has no authority, no power. The Mexican doesn't have any. It's that white, straight, conservative Christian man that is preventing them from turning this country into a, a socialist society.
But so
once again, I think he's just using words that are talking points. I'm not sure if he even understands it.
here, let me ask you about this. I'm not a socialist myself. I'm a social, just to be clear. I'm not advocating for socialism. I don't know that many actual socialists. Like, where's the big desire for the U.S. to become socialist?
If you look at the Democratic Party,
There's almost no socialists in the
it's a
Democratic Party.
socialist communist party now.
I think they're corporate. They're heavily corporate, and you just look where they get their money from for campaigns or whatnot. They seem pretty corporate, but I think the mainstream conservative Republican will tell you that they're into socialism, so that they have an argument against them, even though those guys are taking money from corporations as well.
What's one socialist idea from the Democratic Party?
Socialized healthcare.
Nope, that's a social democracy program.
No.
Yeah.
And
Is
if
Denmark
you notice,
socialist?
And if you notice that Barack Obama, the fallen Messiah, he's the fallen Messiah, right?
I don't know anything about that.
Fallen, Big Mama Michelle. He tried to turn America into a socialist society.
What's one example?
Meanwhile, when he leaves the presidency, he's doing speeches on Wall Street because he's such a huge fan of socialism that he's like, hey, let me get paid doing speeches for Wall Street. They want to see a socialist, not a capitalist. Somehow.
Example of a socialist policy that he had.
Socialized healthcare.
He didn't do that. He did before.
He didn't do that. What he did was he created the middleman of insurance companies between socialized medicine and people, which sounds pretty. It sounds like a bastardization of both of them, of a capitalist healthcare and socialist healthcare, right?
Profit Obama.
Taking care of everybody.
How so?
By getting rid of jobs. Most
He
people
took care of people by getting rid of jobs.
Full-time jobs, and they had to work 2 part-time jobs in order to survive.
Jesse, you don't even understand the talking points.
The
you're
rest
saying.
stopped.
Hasn't it been like that for a long fucking time? I don't know. Other than those years where it's like, okay, the economy's on the rise again, but it's because it's something that has nothing to do with just normal people, like Bill Clinton. It's like, oh, the economy's so great under Bill Clinton. It's like, well, the internet came around too. I'm just saying.
Working and just went and depended on and relied on the government. Free Obama phones.
Obama phones. Yep, that's socialism taking over. Obama phones. And Pakman knows it too. He's like, fuck, I look like a genius right now.
That's
Is that
socialism?
socialism?
So how can you?
Is
So
free
hold on a
Obama
second.
phones socialism?
I want to ask a real question.
I'm asking you a real question.
Obama phones are not socialism. No, I'll answer your question. Let me ask you a real. I really want to know this. The arguments against places like Venezuela and Cuba and other so-called socialist countries are that no one has anything, no one can afford anything, there's no technology, there's no food. But you're saying that cell phones for people are socialism?
Yes.
That's your argument?
Yes.
Have
That's
at
an
it.
example of it. So I
Once again, we did a video on Ben Shapiro talking about socialism, calling it evil. And it's like, your only examples in history. It's like, see, look what happened to their country. Look what happened to the USSR or whatever the fuck he says, in Cuba. It's like, well, were there corrupt leaders there when they were trying to do this socialism thing? And some people can make the argument against capitalism the same way, right? It's like, how corrupt are the leaders that are dishing out the system? Obama wasn't a socialist. He was anti-colonialist. He believed, like many on the left, that America prospered at the expense of other poor non-white nations. How would that make him an anti-colonialist? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. He did the same practices, though, right? As far as America's overseas expenditures, and what did he do different? What did he do that was so different than George Bush? So I don't know as much. I think the anti-colonialist look of Obama was more of a face paint in order to look some way to the public, in order to have this type of portray a character for the public. Just being a politician, basically.
I want to move on, but I want to ask, so are you saying that you do not support #movement, the #movement 100%?
I'm not really part of any of these Twitter movements. Right. If the movement is about empowering victims to tell people what happened, I support that.
But you don't support the movement itself?
I don't know what the lines of the movement are. You'd have to define it for me.
Do you agree with me that men should come out in the same manner that these even women are doing and report women, because more women are raping young boys, teenage boys, than men are with women?
So let me deal with the first part of the question.
I don't know.
Because I don't know about those statistics, but if your question is, should men come forward if they've been...
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
They should turn this on these women so these women can see what it's like.
Well, it's not... That would be...
That would be dumb as fuck. That would be bad. It should be, if something shitty happened to you, you should let someone know about it. You know, shitty as in criminal. You should let someone know about it. Doesn't matter what the fuck. Doesn't matter male, female, transgender, black, white. If someone did something wrong against you, you should let it be known. Now, I don't agree with the whole legal system of things, and we handle things by punishing other people. I don't agree with that, but you should be saying something.
Vindictive, and that as a man of God, I don't think you would suggest revenge and vindictiveness in that way.
No, just don't be angry about it.
Just tell the truth.
But just use the laws against them as well.
Well, I would
because
suggest
we're not requiring the women to tell the truth. Why are we requiring the men to tell the truth?
No, they are. Women are every victim, if they don't tell the truth, and in fact it just happened. There was a woman on a college campus who made a false rape allegation. She's going to prison because there are laws against that. Is good. Yeah. There are laws against that. It's rare, but it does happen.
So you do agree that the men should use those same laws to go after them?
No, I believe that men should tell the truth, and if they've been assaulted by anybody.
It's not about going after. It's about something shitty happened. I need to tell someone.
They should tell her.
But if they should accuse a woman, they should not have to prove it. They shouldn't be asking, why are you doing this?
No, in a court of law,
they should be believed just because they said it. Are you right about that? Do you agree with that?
Just pure example of revenge politics.
We should trust and verify all accusers.
So you're not for this thing about a woman can accuse you and she should not be believed?
I am for trust but verify.
Right, but don't believe her just because she said it.
The legal system's got to investigate. If it turns out she lied, of course there should be consequences.
But I'm asking you, should we believe it just because they said it?
We shouldn't disbelieve it because it's such a big thing to come forward and make such an allegation. If we're going to put anybody in prison, we need a trial. We need an investigation for sure, no matter who the accuser is, no matter who the victim is.
And so should they be believed just because they said it?
They shouldn't be written off.
Should they be believed just because they said it?
They should, and then we do an investigation. And
if it turns out they believe because they said it?
How would you start an investigation if you don't believe them? Imagine this for a second. You're a police officer. I come in and I say, someone has raped me. If you don't believe me at all, you don't even investigate, right? So as the officer, you should say, this is...
I don't know if that's true. you can just hear the case and investigate it. What you do is you try to prove it and disprove it simultaneously, right? As you're affirming one thing, you're disproving something else. So you're proving and disproving simultaneously. Just take the claim as it is. You don't have to just say, oh, I believe you, and then start from there. That sounds, to me, that sounds biased. If I'm a detective, right, I listen to what's said, and then I investigate those claims specifically without believing or not believing anything.
Someone who has decided to come down and tell me that this happened, I am now going to investigate it. You have to have some degree of plausibility in the claim to even say, let's do an investigation.
In a fucked up world, yes, I agree with that. Because there's probably so many cases, and there's plenty of people that will lie. There's plenty of people that will try to get away with things. So, in this shitty expression of humanity, sure. But in a better world, you would take every claim as it is, on its merit, investigate it, find an answer.
This isn't really, is this even interesting to you?
If I'm a police officer,
yeah.
I'm not going to assume either way. I'm just going to take your information and check it out. To see if it's
You're going to check it out, but if you didn't believe it, you wouldn't even check it out.
As an individual, should we believe the women just because they said it?
It's a false framing of the question. When you say
Would
just
you
because they
believe
said
it
it,
just because they said it?
I would trust them and I would
But
verify.
you're not answering the question.
That's the answer.
But I'm
You don't
asking-
like the answer.
You don't understand the question?
I think I understand it.
What is it about the question that's difficult for you?
It's the framing of it, because believe means what? I'm not saying on her say-so we put somebody in prison, right, if you're asking me that.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
I would believe it enough to investigate it.
Would you, David Pakman, believe it just because she said
I
it?
liked how you had to check what my last name was there. I would believe it enough to investigate it, yeah.
You should just investigate it. Alright? The belief comes after you do the investigating.
Give me just a yes. I'm black and slow. So give me a simple yes or no. Would you believe it just because they said it?
How else would you find out about it if they didn't say
You're
it?
not answering the question.
Plant-like behavior. I'm black and I'm slow. Sounds like a plant to me. I don't know.
This
Oh,
is
your friends are watching right now.
I hope
And
so.
they're watching because they thought you were going to kick my butt. So you got to live up to it.
I found out this was a debate today.
Would
Can
you
you imagine?
believe it because they said it?
I would believe it because the only way we're going to learn about it is if they say it, and then I'd
So
investigate.
you would believe it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I want to ask you about anything you have for me? Any questions? I
I do have one.
Yeah.
Are these really the most important topics for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are there others that are more important for you?
Yeah.
Like what, for example?
Our economic system, wealth inequality, healthcare,
I'm getting to that.
geopolitics, nuclear disarmament, climate change.
We're going to get to the Great White Hope, so I'm getting to that. All right. I got to ask you this. Colin Kaepernick. I see him as a thug, and all of the other players who are kneeling during the national anthem, that they are turning their backs on the flag, on the country, men and women of the military, the fans. And I think they all should be fired and throw those SOBs out, right? Do you agree with that?
I don't.
And why not?
Well, I
This might be my jumping off point here. It's like, all right, I'm fulfilled. I'm fed.
don't believe that anybody should be able to tell private businesses that aren't breaking the law how they need to do employee relations, right? So if I were to come in here and say, I don't know what kind of fiduciary relationship you have to the people in this room, maybe they're employees. If I were the government and you weren't doing anything illegal with them, and I said, you got to fire these two, and I got two other people you're a private business. You can do, as long as you're not breaking the law, you can do whatever you want. So I don't know of any legal basis on which the NFL or it's really the teams individually that are the employers. I don't know how we justify having them fire players. I mean, it just
Do
doesn't make
we,
any
the
sense.
taxpayer, give money to the NBA?
I thought we were talking about football.
Right, NFL, whatever it's called.
Doesn't even matter, right? This is just, you're trying to get this point on the record. Yeah.
Do we give money to them?
They're as consumers or as taxpayers? Well, there are some stadiums that are built with taxpayer money in exchange for the amount of tax revenue that they bring to the city.
Right, and so
the scenario that I think what I think is difficult for them, it's hard to piece out, right? Because yes, these are private businesses, the NFL teams, but I believe citizens are protected as far as free speech for their job, right? If they're not protected legally, then I'm sure they're by reputation protected. Like, you can't just fire someone for saying something that, isn't dangerous or violent. It's just saying something, their personal belief or expression or whatever. So here's the problem when it comes to situations like that, is that I believe these guys get fired, or as far as Kaepernick's situation, he gets cut or released, or he doesn't get signed by another team, and all I have to say is that he's not good enough, right? He's not a good enough player anymore to play in this league, so we're not going to sign him. He doesn't have value as a player. And me personally, that screams bias, because what is he, like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", runs fast, has a cannon arm, and he's been to the Super Bowl. That's a small number of human beings on the planet, let alone the NFL. So to just say we're not signing this guy, it's probably going to be because of his views, or at least how he expresses those views. I don't think it's because of his ability, my opinion.
that government involvement.
It's government involvement, yeah.
And so shouldn't the government have something to say about it?
No.
Because
You wouldn't apply that to any other business.
It's not 100%.
Also, the military contracts, correct? That has them do the whole national anthem extravaganza before games.
Private, owned. So we do have something to say about it, right?
Can I give you a counter
No, answer that
example?
first.
There is not, and I'll tell you why if you allow me. If you have a private business and you pay into the state's unemployment insurance, the government is now involved with your business. Does that mean they can come in and tell you what to do? No.
But if I
It's a
have
silly
a
argument.
private business and I'm paying into it, well,
Private
we're
businesses
paying-
pay into
me,
unemployment
I'm
insurance.
a taxpayer. My money is going to the government and it's being given to the
Yeah.
football teams or association, right? So I have something to say about it.
This isn't
But
my
that-
argument. I'm just telling you that's not the way it works legally.
Let's go back to that though. So you don't think it's wrong to turn your back on the country? That because if it wasn't for football, there would be no Colin Kaepernick, and most of these black players, they'll be hood rats, they'll be thugs, they'll be in jail.
He's a plant. I'm telling you, he's a plant. He's a probably Bible-thumping plant, masquerading as political commenter. He's just, to me, just a less sophisticated Ben Shapiro, and not funny Steven Crowder. And Crowder's, he's okay, he's pretty funny, but the shit he talks about just makes you cringe more than laugh. Anyways,
And
I
so-
am pausing that. I am done talking about this shit. It was interesting, but yeah, I don't even care if anyone watches this video. If you actually did watch it and you made it to this point, you can subscribe for random content. We also take requests. Comment. We accept all comments. Doesn't matter what viewpoint you're coming from. Obviously, we keep Matt Hunter around. I'm just saying. We could have banned you. Just saying. Just playing. And as always, Sorry, thumbs down.